There's been little response so far from the government regarding reports of fighting along its border with Eritrea. The African Union says it is still trying to find out exactly what is happening. CCTV's Groom Chala has more from the capital, Addis Ababa.
Ordinarily, Ethiopian authorities are quick to deny these sort of reports. This time, though, we are getting a no comment. Government Communication Affairs State Minister Freyot Ayalo told me, quote, "For now, there is nothing to say about the Eritrean accusations." Analysts say that means there has indeed been fighting. We're also seeing reports from residents in that area confirming gunshots. The African Union says it will formulate a statement once it has more facts. Officials will be hoping Addis can help with that. Eritrea's relations with the AU are not all they should be. In fact, the United Nations previously has accused Eritrea of conspiring in a plot to bomb the African Union 5 years ago. Asmara has always denied that. Kurumtara CCTV, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Reports of the fighting emerged just days after Eritrea celebrated independence. It broke away from Ethiopia 25 years ago following a long, bloody war. But the two have never agreed on their border, and that's often been an excuse for more fighting. CCTV's Soni Methu has more.
Thank you, Penina. The flashpoint this weekend looks to be Sorona, just inside Eritrea. A disagreement over who owns that town and the town of But triggered a war back in 1998. An estimated 70,000 people were killed. The fighting ended with the Algiers agreement 2 years later. Addis and Asmara sent their dispute to an international commission for arbitration. They agreed to accept its ruling as final and binding. The commission put both Sorana and But inside Eritrean territory. Ethiopia rejected that ruling and then demanded more talks. And it's since refused to hand But back. There have been border clashes since then. In 2012, for example, Ethiopia sent troops into Eritrea to attack alleged subversive groups. Both sides accuse each other of supporting rebel groups. So relationships between Addis and Asmara are strained, to say the least. Eritrea says that's one reason it's kept national conscription. That can last for decades. And it's prompted many Eritreans to migrate. Back to you.
Well, thanks very much, Soni. Let's discuss this further. With me in studio is the Eritrean ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Beyene Rusom. Thank you very much for joining us, Your Excellency. So, Ethiopian authorities have remained silent on this issue, but why is your country accusing them of attacking your territory?
Finally, they have come to speak. And I don't know if you have heard the BBC at 6 o'clock, the Minister of Information, I don't remember his name, has started accusing us of starting the war. After saying in the morning that he doesn't have any information, that there is nothing in the area, there is no war, it is calm, but now saying that we started the war. But the truth of the matter is that, the Ethiopians want to seize the opportunity of this going on campaign against us by the Commission on Inquiry of Eritrea, accusing us of baseless accusations. It is a political campaign, and they want to synchronize it with a military campaign, which they failed drastically, were pushed from our area and back to their base. So they did start the war. They took the offensive yesterday, as always, which is a flagrant violation of the international law. And all the responsible journalists must be able to condemn them, and in the international community as well. First and foremost, they are within our country. They have been there since 2002, when the verdict was, given by the Eritrean-Ethiopian Border Commission on the border conflict. They should have withdrawn their forces long time ago. They are still there. They want to push further. And as I said, to seize the opportunity on this political campaign and do their military campaign. If they succeed, go further. And as always, as the late Meles Zenawi has been saying several times, and which has been repeated by the present Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Haile Mariam Desalegn,
Right.
the regime change of Ethiopia, that is their ultimate objective, which they will never be able to do that.
But the two countries, Ethiopia and Eritrea, are neighbors. Why is it so difficult for the both of them to have a sit down and dialogue on the issues and perhaps even find a lasting solution?
That was our objective, you know, that was our dream of living peacefully with our neighbor, bigger neighbor, Ethiopia. We fought together to topple the Mengistu regime, and you know, we were very hopeful when Meles Zenawi came to power, but which finally ended to be a minority regime which tries to impose its will not only upon Eritrea, just a wish, but which does in its own people. So a minority regime which cannot find peace in its own, among its own people, which tries, you know, to coerce its own people, the other ethnic groups, especially the Oromos, Somalis, the Afars, the southern people, you know, can never make peace with its neighbor. That is the nature of the regime. The minority regime does want to live peacefully with its neighbor Eritrea, not only Eritrea, but all the other countries.
Okay, let's talk about the UN Commission of Inquiry that you mentioned earlier on in this conversation. And it's accused your country of crimes against humanity, including torture and rape. That commission says that is why Eritrean citizens are fleeing the country in their thousands. What is your response to that?
Oh, you should have given me more time for this, you know, because this commission of inquiry shouldn't have been there from the very beginning. Eritrea should have been dealt, you know, through the constructive engagement, the so-called universal periodic review, and through engagement with Eritrea, also with the Office of the United Nations for the human rights, the High Commissioner Office for the Human Rights, which we are doing the right thing to engage with it. So they failed to see this. They failed to see what we are doing through the periodic, through the universal periodic review, and they created this commission on inquiry, which shouldn't have been there. It is very selective. It is biased. It is very partial. I mean, there is no impartiality. There is no objective. So it is accusing Eritrea of things that we are not doing, and it is not true that Eritreans are fleeing in their thousands. If you have been following what the Migration Office have been producing results recently, you know, last year totally it was only 800 people monthly, but there is always this accusation on Eritrea that about 5,000 Eritreans flee every month, which means from the day they started saying so, Eritrea would have been emptied its use by now. It is not true. It's only for economic reasons. When they are offered political asylum by these European countries. Not only Eritreans do flee as Eritreans, but all the neighboring countries like Somalis, Ethiopians, Sudans go in the name of Eritrea, which increases the number tenfold or 20-fold, and that is why the number has swollen always, but it is not true.
All right.
Yeah.
Your Excellency, we appreciate those insights. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
We are
most
here in studio the Ambassador Bayene Rusom, that's the Eritrean ambassador to Kenya.